Good evening. I'm Ashley Van Sant. I'm publisher of the Washington Daily News and president of the Washington Beaufort County Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Daily News, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Washington Young Professionals, I'd like to welcome you tonight to the Beaufort County Candidate Forum. To our candidates, thank you for the commitment to serve your community. The electoral process can be challenging. It requires a level of sacrifice, and we're grateful that you're willing to participate as a potential representative of your fellow citizens. We thank you for your attendance tonight. To our audience, thank you for investing the time to educate yourself on the candidates and their stances on the issues facing our community. Those issues are important, and your vote matters. At this time, I'd like to introduce Catherine Glover, Executive Director of the Washington Beaufort County Chamber of Commerce.
Again, thank you for being here tonight. Everyone was invited to attend the forum. We hate that we had to actually reschedule this event due to Hurricane Matthew, and that it made it impossible for some candidates to actually be here. Unfortunately, the Board of Education also has a meeting tonight, so we apologize that it was a conflict with that. We did the best that we could with the dates that were available, and this was the best one that we could do. Thank you to those that rearranged their schedule to actually be here. We are going to have the candidates running for state positions to come up first. They will be giving a 2-minute open time, and then ask 2 questions, and then an audience question. Next will be the county commissioner race. We will randomly select names from the basket regarding the order you will come up for the 2-minute opening, the 2 questions, and then the audience question. This is a forum and not a debate. Questions are those of a mix prepared in advance and an audience submitted question. A yellow card down here will be held up when you have 30 seconds left. A red card will be held up when your 2 minutes is over. Candidates, we ask that you please be respectful of other candidates when they have the floor. We ask that you refrain from interruptions, personal attacks, and remind you that your response times is yours and yours alone. Thank you to the Washington Daily News and the Washington Young Professionals, which is part of the Chamber, for putting on this event. We also would like to thank Randy Walker with G.W. Walker & Sons. He's videoing tonight, so this will actually be on Suddenlink City Channel 9, and we'll actually be using it for websites. So we will be able to publicize what's going on tonight as we continue through the process. I'm going to introduce Stuart O'Neill. He's our moderator. He is one of our original Young Professional Steering Committee members. He also runs a branch of Edward Jones here in Washington, and he grew up in Washington and went to NC State and then came back. So welcome, Stuart, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Catherine. I think she already laid it out pretty well, but we're going to start with opening statements for the state races, and then once we finish with that, we will move on to the county commissioners. So if I can get the state candidates to come up, that would be great. And I think I've got those names. Yes, ma'am, come right up the door. And since you guys are not running against each other, I don't think there should be any particular order as far as what the responses are. You just have a seat, or if you'd like to go first, it's completely up to you. If nobody will go, I'm just going to call on one of you.
I can.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Marva Fisher Baldwin. I am a resident of Pamlico County. I am a candidate for the North Carolina House, District 3, which includes Craven, Pamlico, and of course, Beaufort County. The parts of Beaufort County that are in District 3 are Aurora, Edwards, Blunt's Creek, Chakawinity, and 2 of the wards in Washington. I am a farm girl. I was born on a farm. I presently live on that same farm. In fact, I live in the house in which I was born. A lot of the values that I have carried through life were formed on that farm. The values of faith, family, work, community, respect, and education. And as such, each of these are important to me. Earlier in the month, I was privileged with Judge and some of the others of you to attend the Farm Bureau breakfast. I was astounded to find out so much information about how farming is such a vital part of Beaufort County. I knew that already because I used to work on the peat farm. I lived in Pamlico County, but I would come over and work on the peat farm down in Aurora. But to see how you are such an outstanding agribusiness throughout the state is absolutely wonderful. And being a farm girl, I am always going to be interested in what happens to the farms. I hope that you will vote for me, those of you who are able, and I look forward to working and serving this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Warren Judge. I live in Kitty Hawk. I'm running for House District 6, which is Beaufort County north of the Pamlico River, plus the Cypress Landing area on the other side, Washington, Hyde, and Dare counties. I'm a small businessman. My wife Tess is with me tonight. For the last 16 years, I've been a member of the Dare County Board of Commissioners. I've chaired that board for 11 years. Under my leadership, Dare County has had great economic growth. We've taken our economy from $300 million a year to $1 billion a year. We've rebuilt our school system, and we've doubled the amount of money that the local county government puts into our school system for education, for operational expense. And we've done all of this while we've maintained one of the lowest tax rates in the state of North Carolina. My experience on the board and the accomplishments that we have made have prepared me well to represent our district at the General Assembly. I'm moderate, I'm a compromiser, I like to get things done. I always try to take the high road. We need to represent you all. Your voice needs to be heard in Raleigh. Raleigh's voice doesn't need to come down here and be preached to you all. And that's the type of representative I'll be. Very blue collar. I'll get great grades from you all for effort. I'll get great grades from you all for attendance. You'll know me as I've got to know you all. I look forward to this opportunity. I'm well prepared. I'm well qualified. I ask for your vote in early voting on November 8th. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to ask each of you a question, and you'll have 2 minutes to respond to that as well. We'll start with you since that's the order we've established. First question is, how will you see the needs of Beaufort County are addressed in the General Assembly?
First of all, as an educator or retired educator, I believe much of who we are and much of the concerns that we have begin with education. One of my major priorities would be to restore the funding for education, public school education, so that our students can be competitive with other students, even the students in the Piedmont area. Not only that, I would like to see innovations that I think young people can bring to this area if we give them the opportunity. We hear so much about the economy in the eastern part of the state. I think a lot of our young people have some answers, and we just need to give them the resources, such as broadband. I was talking a few minutes ago to a former school board member, and I was saying that nowadays we are able to stay in the east, yet work in the Piedmont. A lot of people now work at home, and they work at home because they have that connection, that technology that's available. So one of the things I see is that education, as well as the technology that's available, can bring innovations that we need to prosper in this area, and I look forward to working to restore the budget so that these can be available to all students, and not only all students, to us, the general population. Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
How will you see the needs of Beaufort County are addressed in the General Assembly?
Thank you, and I'm sorry there's going to be a little bit of repetition here, but there's two keys to what we need to do. First is education, and I'll touch on that real quickly, and the second is jobs and creating real sustainable jobs. Education, Marva said it very well, it is the fundamental building block that we need. It is our duty as the generation that has the responsibility and the authority to govern, that we put the very best public education out there for our children. Somewhere there's a child today that's going to get educated and is going to grow up and is going to continue his or her education, and they're going to discover the cure for cancer. They're going to discover the secret to Alzheimer's. They're going to create the next new technology that leads us into the decades ahead. We've got to fund. The General Assembly has got to make education its number one priority. We do that, things begin to happen. Secondly, there are good programs in Raleigh the General Assembly has for the enticement and the attraction of businesses and commerce into the state of North Carolina. However, it doesn't fit Beaufort County. It doesn't fit House District 6 in eastern North Carolina. I want to work with the General Assembly. I want to work with the men and women up there to let them know the things that we need. We're a farming community. We're a small, light manufacturing type community. We don't have the attributes of the big cities, but we got great attributes. We got great natural resources. We got great people. And we're going to make great schools. We're going to make our great schools greater. We got an excellent community college here, but we got to tie all of that together. We got to prioritize education, and we got to bring programs to Beaufort County that work for Beaufort County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, go to question 2. Given the response regarding House Bill 2, what is your stance on this legislation? Y'all had to know that was going to come up.
Most people concentrate on the bathroom issue. I think there is something that is more important, and that is state government overreach. I think that we have the opportunity to allow more control to be turned back to the local government. I think that was maybe one of the major problems that really affect us personally. Because what happens at the local level affects each one of us. I don't call somebody in Raleigh if there's a problem with fixing the road or fixing potholes. I call my local government. Right now on the ballot in Pamlico County, one of the towns has a referendum about selling alcohol on Sundays and liquor by the drink. That town is seeing a change in its demographics. And to serve better that demographic that is coming in, they've put this on the ballot. This is something that can be decided locally. And when we start to taking away the authority that local governments should have and letting the state mandate those areas that are closest to the local community, then I think we have a major problem. And that is my major concern about HB 2.
You want it one more time?
Sure.
Given the response regarding House Bill 2, what is your stance on this legislation?
Very poor public policy. Now, don't anybody leave here tonight, and don't let the bloggers blog, and don't let people take sound bites and turn my words into something they're not. I stand before you tonight, and I'm telling you that I absolutely support and expect that every citizen of this state and every visitor to this state should feel totally safe and free in any public building, any public facility that we have. If there are problems with crime, if there are problems that need to be addressed, and not at the city level or the county level, at the General Assembly, I'll be in line to work with my colleagues up there to make sure that the laws of the state of North Carolina protect everybody equally. But this is poor public policy. Article 2 has been changed after they realized they passed something that was unconstitutional. Article 3 strips authority from local governments. And we've got county commissioners here. I've been a sitting county commissioner now in my 16th year, and let me tell you, what that bill has done to us has crippled us. We have the responsibility every day, more and more, our responsibility grows more and more because of unfunded mandates, and yet they're stripping us of authority. They're giving us all the responsibility and taking authority from us. Poor public policy. I hope I've made that clear. I hope it's a straightforward answer. Our children, our adults, residents, visitors absolutely deserve to be protected. This bill rushed through the General Assembly. No debate. The minority party was not allowed to participate in a debate. I say, if you've got the majority, you ought to let the minority speak. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, we have some questions submitted by the audience, and we have randomly chosen one. How would you help facilitate job creation in Eastern North Carolina?
I mentioned one area, and that is connecting Beaufort County and District 3 more effectively and more efficiently to broadband. I think that that is one of the waves of the future. As I said, to see someone who lives in Bath or Pantigga or Aurora or Blunt's Creek or Chakawinity working every day in the Research Triangle Park without leaving home. That, to me, is one of the waves of the future. Coming in Chakawinity, I saw some solar panels. I think that the opportunities with green energy are phenomenal. And I don't want to close off anything. I do support and will support agribusiness. I do support and will support one of your great areas of the economy, and that's tourism. I will support these, but they must be done responsibly with the eye on keeping the environment safe, so that when we go out to the waters, when we go out to Whitchell Beach or wherever we go, or to Goose Creek Park, that we have a beautiful place to live and to enjoy.
One more time?
Same question?
Yes, sir. How would you help facilitate job creation in Eastern North Carolina?
A little bit of a duplicate from some of my opening remarks and from the first question. Certainly, the key is, in my opinion, to economic growth and economic development is that we have a well-trained workforce, that those young people of ours that want to grow up and want to go through our public school system and continue on to a four-year university, that all those programs are available to them and that he or she get there, as well as our community college system. And I must say, I sit on the board of trustees for the College of the Albemarle, and when I first toured the Beaufort County Community College, Robert Belcher, you were there that day, and Jerry, I mean, you know what my comments were. I'm going to get in trouble back home, well, not back home, but in Elizabeth City, because of the praise that I gave for Beaufort County Community College. But the programs that are out there, linking them with businesses, and we need to make sure the funding is there. We need to make sure we prioritize our education so that we put workers in the workforce that manufacturers and businesses can hire, because they know they've got good talent out there and they'll hire them. They feel comfortable about an educated workforce, and they'll expand their business and they'll create more jobs. Tourism. We got a tourism department in North Carolina. We need to make sure that the local officials here in Washington and Bath and in Belhaven who are reaching out and trying to ignite a tourism industry that can do so many good things for you. It's a green industry. It can do so many good things for you, that it has the attention and the assistance from our state tourism office. Farming. Regulatory issues. My discipline the last 16 years has been trying to manage myself in the county through the wave of regulatory strangulation on our fishermen, which is a huge industry for us. Farmers have the same issues, and I will work to help them establish a clear path to a successful farm. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we finish up here, I wanted to thank Warren Judge and Marva Fisher Baldwin for physically being here. We did have one candidate send in a statement he wanted us to read for him tonight. This is from Brownie Futrell. This is his opening statement. To all of my Beaufort County friends, I sincerely regret that I am unable to be with you tonight to participate in this powerful statement of our shared freedoms and celebration of our democracy. Hurricane Matthew forced us to move this forum from last week until tonight, and unfortunately I had already accepted an invitation to participate in a similar event in Elizabeth City. To all of you who continue to be challenged by the effects of the storm, know that our strength is in our unity, and we will respond as we always do, mutually supporting each other in times of need. I would like to thank all public and private agencies who have attended to Beaufort County's needs, especially our utility workers and first responders. I would also like to thank the Chamber of Commerce, the Washington Daily News, the Community College for supporting tonight's forums. Just over a year ago, I was called to Raleigh to meet with the leadership of the Democratic Party. If you don't mind, keep up with my time. I don't want to go over. At the meeting, I was told that I had been vetted and the party wished me to run for the state senate representing 8 counties in northeastern North Carolina. I told the leadership that I knew it was not my place to tell them what they were looking for in candidates, but I suspected it was to find reliable and consistent votes for the Democratic caucus. I said I was not their guy. I told the leadership that if I ever had the honor of representing my home in the Senate, I would first vote my conscience. Secondly, I would vote in the needs of my district. And finally, I would vote my party in that order. I would be a common sense centralist who would work across party lines to make sure that our region and all its stakeholders would be fully served by a process that so often only rewards the urban areas of our state. It was only after receiving assurances that I would be granted that kind of independent vote that I embarked upon this campaign for the North Carolina Senate. There's much more here, but I feel like we're getting close to time, so I'm going to cut that short. Really like to thank Mr. Warren Judge and Ms. Marva Fisher Baldwin for joining us. We really appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you.
And I'd like to reiterate, the reason we kept the order the same and not, let one person start or the other is because they were not running against one another, so that was not like they were having to go against one another. In this next section, we're going to be randomly pulling to see who's going to do opening statements first and then who's going to answer questions first as well. So if I can get the Beaufort County Board of Commissioners that are present to come on up, or the candidates for commissioner to please come on up. And tell me if I missed anybody. I've got Gary Brin, Robert Belcher, Hood Richardson, Derek Davis, and Jerry Evans. Have a seat anywhere you like. It's all going to be random ordered. No open seats? They're not going to join us?
I'm not going to participate because the rules are not fair. I've made the sponsors aware the rules are not fair, and the sponsors refuse to make the rules fair.
It's our forum. We can make the rules, so that's kind of how it happened. So we will move on. Not a problem. First, everybody's going to get an opening statement, and if you'd like, just out of fairness, if you'd like to draw and see whose name's going to be first. Derek, would you like to give your opening statement? You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good evening. Thank you to the young professionals, the Washington Daily News, the Beaufort County Community College for having us here this evening. And thank you to each of you for being here. I believe that Beaufort County's best days lie before her, not behind her. And I feel like our challenges can be made into opportunities. I was born and raised here in Beaufort County. My roots here are as deep as anyone's, and I have a strong desire and hope to serve the people well. Some issues I hope that you'll hear about tonight, and I'll mention them just in my brief time, in no particular order, would be to continue to strengthen our paramedic service, the pre-hospital care that basically brings an emergency room to your medical situation, and care that before had to be given in a hospital can be given right there in the scene. And we know that it is saving lives, and we know it's improving outcomes. So we need to continue to strengthen that. Secondly, we need to continue to work with our schools, both the community college and the Beaufort County schools, in developing a long-range plan to deal with the needs, capital needs, moving down the way. Lastly, I feel like limited voting has served its time and needs to be retired. And in fact, even some of the ones that were part of making it come to be feel like that there are some other suitable options that would meet all of the needs that need to be met and represent a better way of electing our leaders. And I look forward to talking to you more about that later. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's going to take one to Gary again.
I want to thank the Chamber and all those who are involved in this tonight. And thank you folks in the audience for being here. I know that the audience looks a little slim, but sometimes when you push something back, people can't be here. I've often heard that a maxim that if you want to know what a person values, look in the register of their checkbook and see who they write checks to. In Beaufort County, you can do the same with your government. Who do we write the biggest check to? Well, we obviously value the schools because we write the biggest check to them each year. The Beaufort County schools and the Beaufort County Community College get well in excess of $15 million a year from the schools out of about a $55 million budget. What else do we value? We value EMS, we value the Sheriff's Department and public safety, and we value health care in this community because we have Beaufort County Health Department we serve our community. I have written down, and it's an informal list of 6 things that the Beaufort County Commissioners do. And some of these things are mandated and some of them are not. The things that I just told you are mandated. Other things that we do are not mandated. We give money each year to recreation departments in the county, and we do also give money to humanitarian services to some degree. Bruce House, Eagles Wing, and things like that. These are a lot smaller part of our budget, but we do cross some lines, and I hope later in the discussion that we're going to have tonight, I'll get to elaborate on some of the other things. Thank you.
Thank you. 2 more. Let's go on to Surely is random.
Good evening. I really appreciate y'all showing up tonight. It shows that y'all do hear the fact that you're here. And I'd like to mention my wife is here tonight with me, got 45 years, so she's got a lot to put up with. I am, again, my name is Jerry Evans. I'm running for County Commissioner. I'm a small business owner here in Beaufort County. I have been for 16 years. I meet a weekly payroll. I provide the training, the leadership for my company, and I hope at the end of the day there's some profit left over. So I'm going to go a little different direction than some of the others, and hope some of the other, the county, the EMS and all that will come up later. But is there any watchdogs in here tonight except me? I don't like wasting money, and so a couple of things I'd like to talk about is I just happened to notice the other day that my taxes are going up, the current county budget is going up, and the county is growing. We got more employees coming on all the time, so I don't see the economy growing, so I have some concerns about the county maybe growing too fast that we can really afford it. Second thing is, a couple of years ago, we spent $1.8 million on a study for the jail. We can't afford to lose money like that ever again. The reason one that's really bothering me is the condition of our courthouse and the condition of the community college. The money's supposed to be set aside for repairs, especially the courthouse. That's where we set money in for repairs, and that money's now missing. So we now got $500,000 or $600,000 that we got to find. The only promise that I can make to you tonight is this: if I'm elected, no one will outwork me. No one will do more research that I'm willing to do. No one will talk to more people that I'm willing to talk to prior to making any decision that affects the citizens of Beaufort County.
Thank you. And just so y'all can see it, there's one left in here. And it says,
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank all three entities that put this forum on. It's something that the public really needs to see how the candidates work. And so now I'm Gary Brennan. I'm running for re-election for Beaufort County Commissioner. I was born here in Beaufort County down on Pepper Track Road, and my father moved us away to Virginia Beach when I was 5, and I went to school there. Went to college at Learning Bible College, and found out that's not what I really want to do for a living. And then I come back down here in 1970, been here ever since. Started my own landscaping business. Was that for 30 years. And a guy come to me one day and asked me that I want to run for county commissioner. And I said, I don't think so. And so he come back 2 or 3 times, and finally I agreed. With that little bit of my background history, the 10 years that I've spent with being a commissioner in Beaufort County, we've accomplished a lot. We've bought new land to go over for this beautiful campus that we call Beaufort Community College, so we can expand. We did field house at Washington High School. We did a multi-purpose room at Eastern Elementary. We're now putting in a water system in Beaufort County to make sure that if the power goes out, we have a natural disaster here in Beaufort County, that we will have water. This is one of the most important infrastructures that we could possibly think about doing. And I didn't do it all myself. I had help from all 7 of the county commissioners. And I thank you and I appreciate it.
thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to questions, and I'm going to do it the same way. I'm not going to pick on Gary this time. I'll let somebody else draw the names out. But first question, and I'll read it again once you get up. But your first question is, what policy changes or investments are necessary to encourage broader employment? That is Jerry Evans. So Jerry, What policy changes or investments are necessary to encourage broader employment?
Education. If you'll go back and look, our current education system is kind of sitting like this, but unfortunately, technology is going vertical. So somehow we've got to get back in our schools so we can attract some industry to come here. It's my understanding that in the 7th grade is when these manufacturers come around to the schools to talk to the kids so they can see if this is something they would be that they would be interested in. I know there's a lot of jets sitting on the tarmac down in Cherry Point because they don't have people repairmen down there because they don't have the technical skills to repair these aircraft. So I think in the future, the jobs are going to be guaranteed to the people that do what's called lifelong learning. So when they get in that technology, all of your life you will be learning and training, learning and training. And when the word gets out that Beaufort County is providing that kind of service, I think we'll start having the industry come in and take a serious look at it, moving their facility here. But education is key, tourism is key, as another key to get people in here. You spend $1 and supposedly we get like $7 return on it. So we need to see if we can get some people to move this area for growth so we can grow the base of people living in this area. And again, we've got health care. It's another part of it. I think if we go with this county-wide EMS, that's another thing that these folks are looking for when they come into the area, whether they're retiree or not. So, thank you.
Thank you. Second will be Derek Dennis. So Derek, just to recap, what policy changes or investments are necessary to encourage broader employment in Beaufort County?
I'm a firm believer that the road to more jobs and the road to economic development in general in Beaufort County is a combination of multiple entities, your healthcare infrastructure, your school system, but a lot of it is paved right through this Beaufort County Community College. You have people that graduated 20 years ago with a high school diploma, and then that would get you a good job. Now those high school diplomas need to be associate's degrees or need to be technical education degrees in various areas of vocational education. So I feel like strengthening having strong, I know when I was in high school, we had strong vocational education practices there. Carpentry, agriculture through, the teaching there, drafting with Mr. Pinkham. We need to continue that, but we also need to look and through our business and industry council that we have in this county, be talking with and in conversation with the employers. So as they're seeking to expand their workforce, we might know what type of employees they need, what sort of skill sets they need, and if that is not something that we are providing here, then how can we busy ourselves about getting that provided to them? An example was a company here in town that wanted to, as much as double the workforce. But they said our problem was going to be finding people adequately trained to do it. And I know the college, through Dr. Tandy's team, worked hard with them to try to develop a plan to develop that. So that would be one specific way, and there are many different facets to it, but that would be one, I think, specific way that could be done.
Thank you, sir. Make sure I grab the right desk.
I'm gonna even pull mine over here.
Then you pulled your own?
Pull mine.
Absolutely. What policy changes or investments are necessary to encourage broader employment in Beaufort County?
Let's take that our trained workforce is given that we need that. Let's look at other things. North Carolina has shortchanged East North Carolina on its highways. The only section of Highway 17 is not 4-lane, goes from Newbern to Williamston. Who's right in the middle of that? We don't have 4-lane road in this county. So when you get an industry that wants to look at Beaufort County, what are they going to look at? They're going to look at the roads that come in here. Well, we don't have good roads. And the formula in Raleigh for giving us good roads is unfair because it sends all the money to the rich counties in the state and puts us on the short end of the stick. We need a new formula. We need our representatives and our commissioners to go to war with the folks in Raleigh to give us more money for roads in eastern North Carolina. We'll never ever compete with the middle part of the state on crash tests and volume of traffic. What we need to do is have a formula that gives, it's called the equity formula, that gives us a certain amount of money, and then you start looking into crashes and traffic, volume of traffic, because we'll never have that down here. A second thing that your economic developer will tell you, I'm on the Economic Development Commission, the economic developer will tell you that he gets people in here every month looking at Beaufort County. But we don't have a building that they can go into. He's had several companies recently come in and try to buy the steel center. They want to buy the steel center. They want to come in. We can't sell the steel center because it's already being used and under contract. We need to work with private interest in this county to get us a building. The whole industrial park is full. Every building out there is being used. There are 207 employees in the Beaufort County Industrial Park, making a good living every day. We need a building in Beaufort County to be able to show the prospective clients, and hopefully we can work with private interest in Beaufort County and get this done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I guess that will be next.
Gary's lucky number 4. What policy changes or investments are necessary to encourage broader employment in Beaufort County?
I think everything that everybody else has said is right spot on. I think education is probably the most important process in good jobs. If a company wants to come into Beaufort County, during his due diligence, he is going to look what kind of education system we have here. Do we have trained workers? Those are the things that he's looking for. His wife is looking for a good school system and a good medical care center. And we've got all that. But some way we got to figure out how to get the people here in Beaufort County to start opening up their own businesses, hiring people. These are very, very important things to make Beaufort County grow. And right now, we're not starting new businesses in Beaufort County. They're dying. So I think with a good educational system and a very strong Chamber of Commerce putting the word out, that I believe that this is will get good economic development and growth in Beaufort County. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, second question, and obviously this will be random again. What one part of county government would receive more attention if you were elected? Maybe one more time. What one part of county government would receive more attention if you were elected?
Okay. I think one of the areas that needs more attention is our long-range plan. You know, and oftentimes if you'll hear in commissioner meetings, they've talked about this proverbial can that's been kicked down the road for the past 15, 20 years. And I think what that alludes to is a management philosophy of dealing with crises as they come up and a month-to-month management of things. I applaud the board for what they've been able to do, but I submit to you that I think that there is an area that in time could translate into savings for the county if we could get a good program of strategic planning for capital needs. For an example, I'll give you one example. The Beaufort County schools. If any of you, and there's debate on the condition of them, but I can tell you I've been there, and I'm sure you could arrange a tour as well. We have modular units that have been used now for 30 years that are designed for 4 or 5 year use while other facilities are being built. At Washington High School in particular, there are whole rooms that are shut off because the floor is a safety hazard of children falling through the floor. It's been talked about many years about getting these things replaced. It's going to be a multi-million-dollar fix, and it's a multi-year fix. And I know it can't all be done at one time. But that's an example of where we need to sit down, identify with the school board the worst conditions, the ones that are in the worst condition, and begin the process. Someone said tonight, we were talking about an issue, said you can never solve an issue unless you start to solve it. So we need to start, and that's one area. So I think long-range planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Green.
Well, I think there's two areas that need to be worked on. Of course, education is something that in the school system is something that's very, very important to me. And I also have a long-range plan for our government buildings. We have a problem of letting something go to bad before we fix it, and that creates a problem as far as the way you have to pay for it. We get a long-range plan and we stick to it, then we can fix these buildings as it comes up to when there's a roof on it, when these plumbing facilities done. That'll be done in the plan. But the school system is something that requires an awful lot of money, as all of us know. And so we have to have a plan to make sure that when the school budget comes in, that we know how much money we can give them every year. And if they got a capital project that needs to be done, then we need to look at it very carefully. So I think the schools and maintenance for the county is very important for any commissioner that is running for office. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Henry, one more time. What part of the county government would receive more attention if you were elected?
I guess healthcare and emergency management right now. I spent a lot of time the last 9 months out talking to a lot of the emergency management people, a lot of the paramedics. Personally, I think we're going about this thing a little wrong. We do need countywide EMS, but what I like to do is really see Aurora and Choctawamity and really Washington to be left alone for a while. And let's concentrate on Bath and Belhaven and the Pamlico Beach area. I've been down there and talked today, but it's very important to getting people in this area. And one thing that they do look at is healthcare. They want to know about the emergency. But we are a rural area. How do you want to support us in this in a response area like this in a rural area? So I think that's where we need to start and concentrate. Is people looking to move to this area, going to buy waterfront property. We're seeing it now, and I'll go back to Pamlico Beach, and alluded to earlier, somebody said about they don't let small trawlers in these creeks anymore, so that means all the people are leaving, the young folks are leaving down there. But who's going to take care of these people that have these nice waterfront homes? So we've got to figure out a way to take care of the people of Beaufort County. But what I would recommend we do, let's start with those areas first, make sure we've got that down pat, and then little by little we can move forward. I have spent some time with East Care over in Greenville in their emergency management, and they were extremely helpful. So we know we need to have that here to draw people in. We grow the tax base, we can lower our taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Belcher? You got it? You want it one more time? One more time. What one part of county government would receive more attention if you were elected?
It's going to be a repeat, actually, of what some of the others have said. First of all, let me start with the paramedic service. We've got paramedic service on the south side of the river now. The one kind of iffy spot is Butts Creek, but we put the QRV, which is quick response vehicle, down there, and they are able to have service immediately with the paramedic, and then the ambulance has to come from either Aurora or Chocolate to pick them up. But we do get a paramedic on scene pretty quickly with the quick response vehicle. What happens is once the ambulance gets there, the paramedic on the quick response vehicle can go back to his station, and the paramedics on the ambulance can take them on to wherever they need to be. Chocolate EMS, all we would ever do with them is it depends on how much money they make off of their transports. If they can make enough money to survive off the transports, then we leave them alone. We don't want to be involved with Chocolate EMS, but they came to us and said they weren't making enough money to run 2 units, and they needed to do more transport. Well, we gave them a franchise. They can do more transports now. So that and hopefully will solve itself. We won't have to deal with them. On the north side of the river, we put a quick response vehicle on the north side of the river so that Pinetown has service of a paramedic, and we have a paramedic service in Beaufort. So we're pretty much taken care of, and we have paramedic service downtown. But I will repeat what they said. We have some of the buildings in Beaufort County that the government in Beaufort County owns that need a lot of work done to them. They have not been maintained well. And as some of the others have said, there are some issues in the schools that still remain even after a $33 million bond issue several years ago.
Thank you. Okay, now we are on to the audience question. This will be randomly selected. I'll pick on Derek to pick the name this time. Okay, the question is, do you feel Beaufort County taxes are too high, too low, or just right?
That's a good question. First of all, I'd like to say that Beaufort County taxes, we're the third least taxed county in the state. Out of 100 counties, we rank third as far as how much taxes we pay. Now, granted, we just raised the taxes, I think it was 2 cents on the 100. When you get to that point that you have to do that, you can cut those taxes back, but where's the money coming from? You're going to have to start cutting services, and that's not a good thing either. That puts people out of jobs. Now, the amount of tax we pay is, I think, about right. I'm not for raising taxes. They have to. When this tax reevaluation comes in, things are going to be hard to make the revenue do. But as far as raising taxes, I'm not going to vote for raising taxes in Beaufort County. I think that they should stay about the same right now. Thank you.
Jerry Evans.
As Gary said, our taxes are relatively low compared to North Carolina. I think we need to be prepared here in Beaufort County. I'm sure y'all heard that over in Plymouth that just laid off 100 folks at the pulp mill there. And we know the potash is a little bit of a slowdown, but they're not spending money on capital expenditure. So I think that the commissioners have really got some challenges coming up. The reevaluation is coming up here shortly, so in January, you're going to receive your evaluation that you got January and February to go see the appraiser. If you're not happy with that, then in March you may go sit down with the county commissioners and talk to them. But when it's all said and done, unless there's anything dramatically changed, you may see a penny to go up or a penny to go down. But like I say, I think at this point we're fair. The taxes seem to be fair, but the scary part is the way industry is right now and the way the economy is. We've got to do something to make this tax base grow. So,
Thank you. The question is, do you think Beaufort County taxes are too high, too low, or just right?
You know, if you're east of I-95, I don't think anybody would think that we've been a part of the Carolina comeback. If you're west of Charlotte, you haven't been a part of the Carolina comeback. Carolina comeback's been the rich counties up and down I-85 from Wake County to Charlotte. That's where all your jobs, all your business, and everything else is going. None of it's coming here. We are, as a matter of fact, based on tax collections, we saw a decrease in taxes that we collected last year from our largest industry in Beaufort County. They decreased to the fact that you got a 2-cent tax increase. If their taxes had stayed the same or increased a little bit, you wouldn't have had that tax increase. You might have had a 1/2 cent tax increase last year because we would have been able to about break even. But you can't blame them because the market for phosphate is in the toilet right now. They're just not selling it. There's just not a lot of it being done. So you look at what we're at our tax rate in Beaufort County. You don't want to put any more burden on the citizens the way things are going right now because they haven't participated in the Carolina comeback. But by the same token, you got one of the lowest tax rates in the state here in Beaufort County, one of the lowest in this region, the lowest in the region. And so I think, to be perfectly honest about it, that the tax rate's about where it should be, and that hopefully we can maintain that. Thank you.
Derek, you can close this out. And the question was, do you feel Beaufort County taxes are too high, too low, or just right?
Well, they certainly are too high when you're having to write that check on it, getting it mailed out. You know, it begs the question, as I move about the county, I get this question a lot about taxes. How can you cut our taxes and do this and do that? And everybody wants to have the lowest tax bill because, let's face it, we all have to write that check. It falls on us as individuals and as families. But we also want services. When we go to the tax office, we want somebody to be there to help us. When we go to the registry of deeds, we don't have to want to wait in line for a long time for that. We want to make sure when we dial 911, we have a proper response. When we need a rescue or a paramedic, we want to make sure they're there. And all of that goes into that equation. And I often ask, okay, you want us to cut the budget. What level of service would you be prepared to deal with? I think ultimately maybe we could do a better job of listening to you, the voters. Perhaps one way and one idea that I have that I plan to implement when I'm elected is that I will go to each municipality and have time in each municipality, Aurora, Belhaven, Tantigua, Washington, make myself available, have a copy of the current budget, and invite you, the taxpayer, to come to me as a commissioner with your suggestions and your ideas of how you think this might work and why and what does it translate into, and talk about, you bring your ideas to the table. Because at the end of the day, it's your money that we're trying to administer. And so I would very much want that feedback, and I think that that would be a way that we could open the conversation and look for ways that perhaps the budget could be trimmed and services kept. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that concludes. I'd like to make a couple of thank yous. First, to the audience for showing up. The last time we had one of these, it was just jam-packed out the door, and I think just the moving of the event caused us not to have as big a turnout. I'd like to thank the Daily News. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank the Washington Young Professionals. And I'd really like to thank the candidates for taking time to do this and for this not becoming a character debate. That's kind of what we were expecting. So I'm glad everybody stuck to the issues and we really appreciate it. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming.